Good morning, good afternoon, every student and staff. And I welcome Dr. Rajesh Surjuse, Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Electrical Engineering, Government College of Engineering, Chandrapur. The sir has vast experience of 25 years. He acquired his PhD from MNIT Jaipur, MTech from VNIT Nagpur. He is also work as a senior lecturer in Government Polytechnic Nagpur. After that, he has joined the Government Engineering College Chandrapur. He has 5 students registered under his supervision as a PhD candidate. So I request Dr. Rajesh Surjuse, please give your valuable guidance on electrical vehicle advancement and its future in India. I welcome Dr. Rajesh Surjuse, sir. Sir, please share your screen.
Sir, am I audible? Let me know.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Please
Okay.
share your screen, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Let me first of all share my presentation. Sir, please let me know whether it is visible.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. So I am very much thankful to Professor Potbhare, sir, Principal NIT Polytechnic Nagpur, and Professor Ladekar, sir, HOD Electrical Engineering Department, NIT Polytechnic Nagpur, for giving me this opportunity to have an interaction with you people. So once again, I thank Ladekar sir for giving me my brief introduction to you. So today I am going to start a guest lecture on electric vehicle advancement and its future in India. So I will be covering my this lecture in this way. The flow of my lecture will be like what we are having introduction, and after that I will go for the why we go for electric vehicle, then electric vehicle future in India, and after that I will be going to cover concept of gridable electric vehicle, EV in
मैं
short.
मैं हट गई तो भी चालू था.
And then I'm going to cover the concept of battery management system for a electric vehicle, and at the last I will be going to uh, discuss some of the smart technology which is available for the electric vehicle. So prior to starting my lecture, I request all uh, the student to have their microphone muted so that there should not be interruption in between. At the last, we'll be having the discussion with all of the gathered student. So the introduction part, as you know, I also came to know that electric vehicle is some optional subject with the final year student, and they might have having the idea of electric vehicle. So, but second year student is not having much of uh, insight about the electric vehicle. So let me have this basic explanation regarding the electric vehicle. We generally used to classify this electric vehicle into three classes. The first class, we used to say the battery electric vehicle. We used to have the short abbreviation BEV, battery electric vehicle, BEV. Second class, hybrid electric vehicle. We used to say HEV. And third one, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. That is PHEV. Okay. So what is the difference we are having between these three classes? The first one is the battery electric vehicle. You can see here in the figure, you are having the drive as a electric motor, and the power to drive electric motor is given by the battery. And to have a energy available to the battery, we need to go for charging of the battery. Okay, you require the external charging of the battery, and this battery drives the electric motor. So it is completely driven by electric supply, okay, which is powered by battery. So that's why it's a battery electric vehicle. Second class, we used to say the hybrid electric vehicle. You can see in the figure, we are having both IC engine and gas tank. Okay, we are having IC engine corresponding to drive this IC engine. We require the gas, that is CNG. Okay, as well as we are having electric motor and the battery. Power is given by the battery. So both system are there. IC engine as well as electric motor is available, driven by two fuels. Okay, maybe your CNG, it is driven by CNG, or maybe to the electricity powered by battery. So that's why it's a hybrid. Okay, here you can see there is no external charging of the battery. There is no such external charging of the battery. This is the peculiarity of this class, hybrid electric vehicle. Okay, but how you are getting this power to the battery or charging of the battery? So this is you get when you are having electric braking. When you are having electric braking, during that condition, you are having the flow of power from engine to the battery. And in that case, you are having the charging of the battery. Agreed? So that's why this is hybrid electric vehicle. The capacity of, in this class, the capacity is relatively low as compared to what you are having the battery electric vehicle. Agreed? The third class, we are having the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. In plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, here also you are having both. You are having IC, uh, you are having the IC engine, you are having the electric motor. Okay, but in addition to that, you may be you are having with the charging of the battery. You are having the charging of the battery facility to charge the battery. So this is the difference between the hybrid electric vehicle and plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. You are having the facility means you can even drive your car with the electric motor powered by the battery. But in case of hybrid electric vehicle, this battery is used only for the short duration, and the charging of this battery is done when you are having the electric braking, where regeneration is happening. When you are having the regeneration, then only you are having the charging of the battery. Okay, so I think you understood between these three class of the electric vehicle. In my talk, my interest is only on battery electric vehicle. So in my speech, I'll be more concentrated on battery electric vehicle. Okay, so this is the main component of battery electric vehicle. You can see this one is electric motor. You can see here motor drive is there, battery compartment is there, onboard charger. This is auxiliary battery for operation of the system. This is transmission, what you are having. This is the charging port. This one is the charging port, and this is the traction battery packs. So this is what you are having, the traction battery packs. Okay, this is the main component of battery electric vehicle. Okay, so main component of the electric vehicle, a battery electric BEV, battery electric vehicle, is the battery. Okay, near about 30 to 35% of the cost of the electric vehicle, it is the cost of the battery. Agreed. The cost of the battery in battery electric vehicle, it range from 30 to 35%. So that's why I can say the heart of the electric vehicle, battery electric vehicle, is the battery. So we have to more concentrate on this battery. Okay. So basically, the battery packs we are having, we generally go for the lithium ion batteries for the electric vehicle. Agreed. And if you see the construction or type of construction of this lithium ion battery, we are having with the three types of construction. We used to say the cylindrical cell type construction, pouch cell type construction, prismatic cell type construction. If you see the cylindrical cell type construction, we are having the standard size 18650. This is the standard size 18650. So what this number indicates, 18 is the diameter and 65 is the length of the battery. Okay, this is standard size, and basically many of the company, they are utilizing this standard cells, standard cell in their electric vehicle. It is having this steel casing, low manufacturing cost, and high specific energy, and it is having good mechanical stability. The second type of construction, we used to say the pouch cell. Okay, uh, the conventional pouch type construction we are having with. So no standard size. You can have the fabrication of this cell in any shape, any size. There is no standard size. It is laminated. It is having the laminated bags, and it is also having the high energy density. And but the problem with this pouch type construction is that the sensitivity, it is sensitive to moisture and high pressure. Okay, so that is the drawback of this type of construction. We are having the third type, we used to say the prismatic cell. Okay, here also you are having no standard size. It is made of aluminum or steel casing. It is again having the good energy density. And this type of prismatic cell we are using commonly in electric vehicle. Agree. So this is the broad type or construction of lithium ion batteries, what we are using in our electric vehicles. Okay. So this is the diagram for battery pack architecture. You can see here, this is what you are having the battery pack. Agree. So this battery pack is having the battery modules, number of battery modules. You can see here, it is racked in this battery pack. Agreed. So this module uh, in a car, in an electric car or in an electric vehicle, we may be having 48 modules per vehicle. Such type of modules may be there in the electric vehicle, and each module is having near about 4 cells. So if you calculate the total number of cell in any electric, in not any, but in standard electric vehicle, you will find that it is 192 cells per vehicle. It is around 192 cells per vehicle. Or if you see the module, one module is having 4 cells. One module is having 4 cells. You can see the cells. They are fitted inside the module. Okay. So in a total, if you see, near about 192 cells per vehicle you are having it. Okay. This is for the standard electric vehicle, passenger type standard electric vehicle. Okay. When you see the wall to wheel, how the power moves. So this is the grid. We are getting power from the grid, and this is off-board charger. You may be having the AC wall box or DC wall box. You may be having the AC supply or DC supply. In AC supply, you may be having single phase or 3-phase EV charging cable. Okay, and DC EV charging. This is what you are having the vehicle inside the vehicle. Okay, inside the vehicle, if you see for AC side, you're having AC EV charging inlet, then AC to DC onboard charger is there. Okay, this converter converts into the high voltage. This is the high voltage junction box, and you'll be having here a DC high voltage DC. This is a high voltage junction box. Here you are having the DC converter. It is reducing the voltage to 12 volt, and for some of the system you can use this 12 volt, or for the accessory part you can use this 12 volt. The high voltage can be given to the high voltage battery or a high voltage system. So this will invert this DC get inverted and given to the drive motor. Okay, AC drive motor. So this is what you are having the flow chart for the power flow from wall to wheel. Similarly, you are having the DC. You may be uh, having in your mind one question, maybe having one question in your mind, that why you are having this AC and DC, why not only AC, why not on the DC? So for normal charging, or we used to say the slow charging, we go for AC. We go for AC. And for the fast charging, we go for the DC supply. So in a vehicle, if you see in a vehicle, you are having both port. You are having AC charging port as well as you are having the DC charging port. Agreed? So you can see here, we are having, this is the component of EV charger. You may be having the slow and fast charging. If you see for the slow charging, the power required is from 2 kilowatt to 20 kilowatt. You may be having the single phase or 3-phase AC. Okay, if you see the fast charging or rapid charging, the power, see here the difference in the power. For rapid charging, the power required is near about 20 kilowatts to 240 kilowatts. It is 3-phase AC. Okay, so this is what we are having a fixed AC supply, and this is vehicle. This is basically the vehicle, inside the vehicle. We are having, this is going to the AC charging, this is going to the DC charging. Okay, if you see the AC charging, so there you are having the onboard charger. Okay. When you go for AC input filter is there to filter out the harmonics, and this AC is converted. AC, it is after filtering out, you may be having the power factor correction. You may go for the required voltage. Okay, you may go for the required voltage, and after that it is converted to the DC. After that it is converted to the DC, and it is utilized for the charging of the battery. So in AC charging, lot many components you require to finally the power should reach the high voltage battery charging. Agreed. But in case of rapid charging, the power is directly going to the battery. You can see here, HV contactors are there. It is directly going to the HV battery. So that's why you are having the fast, and the power given directly, high power is given directly to the HV battery. Okay, but uh, repeated rapid charging can reduce the battery life or capacity loss compared to only the slow charging. So that's why we prefer slow charging as compared to rapid charging. Okay, but the drawback of slow charging is that the duration of time required for charging is quite high. Okay, duration of charging is quite high. In case of fast charging, the duration of charging required is relatively less. So in case of fast charging, you may be having the charging of the battery within half an hour. It is possible to have the charging of the battery with high power within half hour. But in case of slow charging, you may be having 8 to 10 hours to have the full charging of the battery. Okay. So this is the gadgets for DC charging. These are some of the DC chargers what you are having. This last one, type 2 combo DC AC charger. Here you are having both AC as well as DC supply. Okay, these are first two are the DC charger. Based on the voltage level, the current capacity is also dependent on the voltage level. Okay, so this is AC charging. This is what you are having the AC charging. These are the gadgets we are using for the AC charging. The first one is corresponds to the single phase, and this is second one is again corresponds to single phase. Third one is a portable type wall mounted 3-phase type of charger. As you go for higher voltage application, you can have a higher current and relatively faster charging. Okay, this is what we are having the AC charging. In Government Engineering College, Chandrapur, we are having CIIIT Center. We are having CIIIT Center, Center for Invention, Innovation, and Incubation and Training. So in this, we are having advanced electric vehicle lab. In that lab, this is actually sponsored by Tata, and from this Tata Limited, we or TTL, we are provided with one electric vehicle, that is Tata Tigor. So this is the picture of Tata Tigor, what we are having at our lab, advanced lab. You can see, you can verify the different component of electric vehicle. So at the front, you can see, you can locate the AC charging port. This is the AC charging port. And at the back side, you can see a DC charging port. Okay, AC charging port and DC charging. AC charging is provided for slow charging. DC charging is provided for fast charging. You can also trace the electric drive. This is the electric drive, which is location. This is the location of electric drive. You can see. Okay, this is the battery compartment. You can able to trace in the vehicle, and this is electric drive controller. Okay, this is conventional auxiliary battery, conventional lead acid battery. This is what you are having, the lead acid battery. Okay, for the lighting purpose and other uh, purpose for running the auxiliaries. Okay, so this is what we are having at our institute, Tata Tigor electric vehicle. This is what DC charging station at the Nagpur. At the Nagpur, we are having many electric vehicles. Right from 2070, due to the effort of Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari, uh, in 2070, at the Nagpur, we have started with the uh, charging stations. So this is one of the charging station what we are having it at the Nagpur. This is the model solar charging station. The concept is that whatever energy we are getting for the electric vehicle charging, it should be not from the grid. You should not have the burden on the grid, but it should be free of cost. Means you should have the green energy for the charging of the battery. Okay, so this concept, to implement this concept, so this is what we are having, the solar charging station. Agree? You can see here EVs in India and their scheduled launch, what we are having here. Okay, you can see Maruti Suzuki, uh, it launched WagonR EV in 2020. Then Hyundai, it launched Kona in 2019, Tata Motor Altroz EV in 2020, MG Motor EZS in 2019, Mahindra and Mahindra EKUV 100 in 2019, Nissan, you are having the Leaf 2019, Tata Motors Nexon EV in 2020, Reynolds Zoe in 2019, JLR iPace 2020, Audi e-tron in 2019, and Volvo XC40 in 2020. Okay. Uh, I request uh, I request students to mute their microphone. I request students to mute their microphone. We have to develop two concepts, that is breathable electric vehicle and battery energy management system. So prior to that, what are the benefits of electric vehicle? Uh, Electric motor converts about 85% of the chemical energy of the battery to power the wheel. An EV release zero pollution. This is the advantage. That's why it is mostly due to this reason we, or even the government, promote the use of the electric vehicle. Electric energy can be produced from truly zero emission and renewable energy source such as hydro, solar and wind. This is the in real sense. If you are charging your electric vehicle from renewable energy source, then only we can say uh, you are having zero pollution. Otherwise, if you are taking from the grid, means again the grid is powered from the thermal power station. So again, it is not a pollution free. Okay, so we are having electric motors which offers smoother and quieter operation and require less maintenance. Okay, so possibility of obtaining electric energy from renewable energy sources reduce the dependency on the fossil fuel. So why we require the electric vehicle? Why we require the electric vehicle? So first reason is with the penetration of this renewable energy source like solar PV system, battery pack, wind energy system. So there is a concept which is developed, that is decentralization of energy is now possible, or we are having with the uh, concept of origin of these microgrids. So when you are having this the concept of microgrids, one more component which is get added up with this microgrid, and that is our electric vehicle. You can see here, electric vehicle is also connected to the this microgrid. Why we have shown this electric vehicle connected to the microgrid? If you see your common UPS, it is having the power of 1.2 kilowatt hour. It is having the power of 1.2 kilowatt hour. But if you see the electric vehicle, it is having the power of 30 kilowatt hour. It is near about 30 kilowatt hour. Much of power is available in the battery of the electric vehicle. So this electric vehicle is now can be seen as a source of energy. It can be seen as a source of energy when it is fully charged, or it can take the energy from the grid for the charging of the battery. The power can flow from grid to the EV or from EV to the grid when it is required, or when you require to control the dynamics of the grid. So that's why the importance of electric vehicle is coming into picture. Okay, so this is the first reason I can say. Other thing is fuel cost and efficiency. You can see here, when you go for natural gas to CNG, when you go for natural gas to CNG, you can see the efficiency of from well to pump, the efficiency is 76.85%, and tank to wheel it is 14 to 26%. Okay, overall well to wheel, if you see the efficiency, it is around 11% to 22%. Okay, when you use electric vehicle, and similarly natural gas to electricity, if you see this well to pump, the efficiency is 28 to 45%, and tank to wheel it is much higher. It is around 80%. It is around 80%. And overall efficiency. What is the overall efficiency? It is a product of all the efficiencies. It will provide a overall efficiency of well to wheel for electric. When you use electric vehicle, it is 22% to 35%. So you compare when you use CNG vehicle, जब आप CNG vehicle यूज करते हैं तो ओवरऑल एफिशिएंसी आपकी 11 से 22% रहती है, और जब आप इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल यूज करते हैं तो ओवरऑल एफिशिएंसी आपकी 22% से 35%. So this is what you are having, the comparison of efficiency. It is electric. When you use electric vehicle, it is more efficient as compared to your conventional CNG vehicle. Okay. Other thing is the distance between Nagpur and Chandrapur, it is near about 150 kilometer. Okay. So आना जाना 300 kilometer. So when I use my petrol car, near about 1800 rupees or 2000 rupees I require to travel to and fro from the Chandrapur. Near about 1800 rupees. But when you go for electric vehicle, that too fully charged means 30 kilowatt hour. When you go for fully charged 30 kilowatt hour, it can run up to 300 kilometer. It can run up to 300 kilometer. So consider the per unit charge for charging your electric vehicle is 10 rupees. So for 30 kilowatt hour, you require 30 unit, 30 multiplied by 10, it is around 300. So when you use electric vehicle with only 300 rupees, you can go to and fro from Chandrapur to Nagpur. So definitely, if you see the cost wise, again, a fuel cost and efficiency of this electric vehicle is high. So that's why we prefer electric vehicle. Okay. Other thing is it reduce the emission. You can see here, this is China, lot of pollution. These are the developing countries, in India too, in South Africa. So there should be some restriction to this pollution. And near about 50% of this pollution is contributed by all types of vehicle. We have to restrict to this pollution. So this is one reason. Other thing is there is an advancement in lithium ion battery technology. If you compare this lithium ion battery with other battery, nickel, cadmium, and this NiMH and lead acid, this is the conventional lead acid battery. When you go for, just compare this lead acid battery and this lithium ion battery, what we are having. Okay, if you compare nominal voltage in lithium ion battery, it is relatively high. If you see the energy density in lithium ion battery, it is much high. You can see here, it is much high. So that's why with the less number of battery, more energy can be stored or more energy can be taken from this battery. The other thing which is how to be consider is the temperature range. If you see the temperature range, this lithium ion battery can be used from -30 to +55 degree. The operating temperature for lithium ion battery is -32 uh, +55 degree. So uh, in the Western countries, uh, in the cold countries, even this lithium ion battery is not having any problem. Okay, it can sustain uh, this temperature. And you can see, if you see the environmental impact, uh, lithium ion battery is having no such impact on the environment. But lead acid battery, if you see, you are having the possibility of lead pollution. So that is there. Other parameter is self discharge per month. In case of lithium ion battery, it is very less than 3%. In case of lead acid battery, we are having less than 10%. And if you see the one life cycle is fully discharged, fully charged. This will count one cycle. Life cycle or cycle life for lithium ion battery, it is more than 1500. And in case of lead acid battery, you can see it is 300. So that's why. And nowadays we are having much advancement. So this data is very old data. Uh, we are having much advancement in lithium ion battery technology. So that's why this is also one of the reason to have the reduction in the cost of the battery, okay, and use of lithium ion battery for the electric vehicle. Other thing is at the global level, uh, 2 degrees centigrade climatic stabilization target leads to high carbon price. So this is we have to go for globally. It is decided to have a stabilization of 2%, 2 degrees centigrade climatic stabilization is considered. So this lowers the carbon content of generated electricity. So this is the target uh, at global level. So we require, and we are also having the national policy, EV policy. The government recognize multiple co-benefit of electric vehicle and push this their penetration. We are having the national electric vehicle policy. So what is the electric vehicle future in India? If you see electromobility, this concept, e-mobility, it already started in 2030, but due to some resistance in the implementation of the policy, it is not much be seen to be implemented in India. Okay, but it is national e-mobility program already it is started right from 2013. Okay, actually, what is e-mobility? E-mobility is a general term used to describe the principle and concept of utilizing electric power technology. E-mobility moves away from existing carbon-emitting fossil fuel to use energy from electric power source. Okay, and e-mobility encompass the use of fully electric plug-in hybrid as well as hydrogen fueled vehicle. And you might have seen in some news, some of the government claim under the e-mobility, they are going to start driverless cars. They want to come up with a driverless car on the road from around 2021 or 22. So we are also having the new concept of shared mobility. So that is what we are having in the e-mobility. The product category within e-mobility is not restricted to these cars and the bus, electric cars and the bus. Okay, we may be having e-mobility. It is related with the drone and unmanned aerial vehicles, electric bikes, electric helicopters, electric hover boards, electric plane, electric scooter, electric ship, oil tanker, and electric vehicle, maybe bus, car, vans, etc. So this is what we are having e-mobility. It is not restricted with EVs, electric vehicle, as a car. It is related with all these things. Okay. So we are having the National Electric Mobility Plan, which is launched, as I told you, launched in 2013. The aim is to put 6 to 7 million electric vehicle on the road by 2020. But you can't find any of such vehicle because due to this COVID, it is not possible to come up with this target. Okay. Uh, and government committed to achieve 30% of e-mobility by
Hello.
2030. Okay. So automotive mission plan 2026 estimate creation of additional 65 million job in auto sector. So this is we are having in the national electric mobility. Okay. So there is a big boost in e-mobility, that is big boost to electric car under FAME India. You might have seen, might have heard in many magazines news that FAME India Phase 2 is approved. And this is approved in cabinet decision to 28 February 2019, which encourages faster adoption of electric and hybrid vehicle by offering uh, upfront incentive on purchase of electric vehicle. So that is there. And to support 10 lakhs E2 two-wheelers, 5 lakhs E3 wheelers, and 55,000 four-wheelers, and 7,000 buses have to be planned. And about 2,700 charging station will be established and create of 3 kilometer by 3 kilometer. This is the target, which is what is decided in FAME India Phase 2. And outlay of rupees 10,000 crores over a 3 years was expected. Okay. This is on 19th November 2019. International workshop was held for policy framework to deploy electric vehicle charging infrastructure in India. Even Maharashtra government also, just in the news, we heard that Maharashtra government, it is planning for 10% increase in the charging station all over the Maharashtra and the vehicle in the Maharashtra. Okay. So this is there. So means what government is also promoting the use of electric vehicle. They are also come up with the electric vehicle. But right now society is, due to the cost of the electric vehicle, it is not much accepted by the society. If you see what is the impact of electric vehicle, so actually electric vehicle are regarded as the most effective tool to reduce oil demand and gas emission. Electric vehicle are welcomed in near future for general road transportation. And if you see gridable concept of gridable electric vehicle, an electric vehicle connected to grid for charging and discharging, this concept is coming into picture for the smart operation of the grid. So that is there. Okay. Gridable electric vehicles may be of following type: V2H, that is vehicle to home type of electric vehicle. You may be having vehicle to vehicle communication, or you may be having the transfer of power. This is related with the transfer of power, vehicle to home, vehicle to vehicle, and vehicle to grid. This technology shapes the future of power grid as a dynamic energy source with the storage, which is capable of adapting itself to the requirement of the consumer. So gridable electric vehicle, what is gridable electric vehicle? As I told you, we used to say GEV, that is gridable electric vehicle. It plays a new role as an energy exchange with the power grid. Okay, it is not only for the charging. You may be having electric vehicle to supply power to the grid. Okay, so this concept is there. Electric vehicle draws power energy from the grid with the plug-in function and delivers energy back to the grid via bidirectional charger. So DC link capacitor inherently provide the reactive power support to the grid. Okay, a single multi-group of electric vehicle is capable of supporting a power requirement at the house as well as community based on grid operation. So this is the new concept what you are having. Electric vehicle can power the community. If you are not having the power failure, so this vehicle can even provide a power to the community, a particular area or particular house. So that is the concept what we are having. So based on charging and discharging capacity of electric vehicle, you may be V2H, that is vehicle to home, vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to grid. Concept has become more and more attractive with better future prospect of realistic application. Okay, this is the impact of on grid. You can see negative impact when you go for the charging, voltage instability, increase in peak demand, harmonics, voltage sag, power loss, overloading of the transformer. If you see the positive impact, it facilitate smart grid. So this is very, very important. And the concept of V2G, vehicle to grid, V2G, this is developing to have a operation of smart grid. And you may be having the integration with this V2G can be integrated effectively with the your RES, that is renewable energy sources. Impact on environment, you are having less greenhouse gases emission, and impact of economy, low operating cost, changes or chances to benefit from V2G. So there is still this is unexplored. We will be having, we require to explore this advantage. Okay, this is what we are having, gridable energy vehicle. It is now your vehicle is connected to the grid. You can see. So this is the grid. This is the you can see small power grid which with thermal, hydro, nuclear, another type of sources. And your vehicle is seen as a, again a source. It is seen as a source connected to the grid. Okay, this is inside the vehicle. You are having smart meter, you are having DC-DC converter, inverter, motor, and battery. These are the component of electric vehicle, which is connected to the grid. Okay. So this is what gridable electric vehicle. You can see here. This is what you are having, the gridable electric vehicle. So this is electric vehicle home charging system. This is energy storage system. What you are having. The main thing is this is electric vehicle parking lot, and this is electric vehicle charging station. So to have a coordination of all this, you are having one important component, that is electric vehicle aggregator. So this is linking all this component, that is electric vehicle aggregator. So we are having the communications network. This is the network operator, and you are having communication with the distribution system operator and transmission system operator, which can provide a power. Okay, now what I want to say that this is the component. Lot of research are having on the EV aggregator, electric vehicle aggregator. So this is controlling whole of this component related with the electric vehicle. And corresponding to that, requirement of power from the distribution uh, distribution system operator can be get to the electric vehicle. Okay, you may be having the optimization and all this thing. So this is what you are having the gridable electric vehicle. Agreed? So what I told you that the main role of in this system is aggregator. So aggregator continuously it observe all the electric vehicle and its state, and corresponding to that it go for locating the power, locating the vendor from where you can get the power and all this thing. So this is having the main role. And as your vehicle is connected to the grid, in case of some failure of the power, this aggregator may even allow the discharge of this electric vehicle and supply of the power from this electric vehicle to even grid. In case of disturbance, this may be the source of active power, which can be provided to grid to have a stable operation of your grid. Okay, if you see in the electric vehicle, you may be having the bidirectional AC-DC or DC-DC converter control unit. This is the internal charging configuration of electric vehicle. So this is the main component what you are having in this gridable electric vehicle system aggregator, which controls all this electric vehicle connected to the grid. So this you can find what are the roles of aggregator. EV aggregator for power distribution grid. EV aggregator will act as the medium between the distribution system operator and participating electric vehicle. This electric vehicle aggregator is seen as a virtual energy storage. So what we used to call this aggregator? Virtual energy storage. It is not having any energy, but it can be treated as a virtual energy storage, which can provide ancillary service or service as controllable load. Okay, the optimal placement and sizing of electric vehicle charging station is an important factor to maximize the potential contribution of electric vehicle to the power distribution grid. So this is what we are having the role of uh, aggregator for power distribution grid. Okay, and lot of research is there. Lot of research is on this electric vehicle aggregator. What sort of activity it has to perform. Okay, so you can see here what is electric vehicle aggregator. This is what you are having electric vehicle aggregator. This is charging station operator, CSO. Capacity, initial charge, target state of charge, plugging time, and plug all these things. Okay, it is going to monitor, and this is electric vehicle, which is having the battery management system, and what is the charging demand. Continuously, this data is given to the electric vehicle, and this electric vehicle is continuous. It is having the these roles. It may go for the peak shaving, so that a stabilized power demand can be get, load tracking, frequency regulation, capacity calculation, optimal dispatch. This is the known application, but still there are research. What should be in coming future? What should be the work to be given to the electric vehicle aggregator? So this is presently performed by electric vehicle aggregator. This is the virtual power system. Electric vehicle aggregator is seemed to be a virtual power system. Okay, so we may be having the SCADA based electric vehicle intelligent integrated station. You can see here, this is what we are having, the intelligent integrated power system. At the this is what we are having, the all electric vehicle. They are tagged with RFID, radio frequency IDs. Okay, and continuously this vehicle is connected, and all the data of this vehicle is given to the data center, and all this is having and corresponding to whatever data it is receiving, decision making information is given to the this electric vehicle. You may be having the charge exchange system. You may be having the echelon battery system where you can have the replacement of the battery, or you may be having the multi-purpose converter devices. Okay, so there is this what we used to say the aggregator, and corresponding to this, this may be demanding power from the grid. So this is the SCADA system. This is the communication server. At this level, you are having the communication server. At this level, you are having the operator workstation, web server, EMS server, SCADA server, data storage server. So this is what we are having, intelligent integrated station. This is a station. You are having continuous communication. In future, as you are coming up with this 5G, okay, in the news you are having the testing of 5G and all these things. When you are having this 5G, the 5G enabled system, this is one of the 5G enabled system. You are looking in future. Okay, so this type of feature means your vehicle, your electric vehicle will continuously communicating with all the system, and your vehicle will provide you decision making. Means from the data it is received, you will be having the decision making conveyed to the vehicle, and you will able to know from where you should charge your vehicle for economic consideration, where will be cheaper charging of the your vehicle. So this can be given by your vehicle itself. You need not require to think about it. You will be having the communication of electric vehicle with the other system. So this is what one of the future readable electric vehicle, what you are having with. Okay, this is the role of the IoT. You might have learned application of IoT and all these things. This IoT is again, when you come up with the 5G technology, when you are coming with 5G technology, you will be having very fast communication between the component of this thing. This is the charge exchange system, echelon battery system, your IoT system, electric vehicle, GPS, maintenance center. Okay, echelon battery system is to have a replacement of the battery when the life of the battery is completed, and that can be used for the system, for energy storage system. Agreed. So this is what you are having, the role of IoT. In coming future, you may be having this type of, when you go for the 5G enabled electric vehicle. This is what we are having, the framework for vehicle to home or vehicle to vehicle electric charging. So this is the parking lot you are having. Three vehicles are there. If suppose one of the car is not having charge, one of the car is not having charge, and you are not available with the grid. So these other two car may even charge your third car. So this is what we used to say the vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to vehicle charging, or vehicle to vehicle power flow. Okay. In the rural side at the night, at the day, this vehicle is get charged. At the night, you require the power to the house. So this vehicle is going to provide power to the house. This is what we are having: smart home, vehicle to home. The power is flowing from vehicle to home. This is what vehicle to home technology we will be having in coming future, and this is connected with our grid and grid operator. Aggregator is there. The main component is the aggregator, which is the decision making. Okay, and this aggregator will allow you to whom you have to connect. So this is there about the gridable electric vehicle, concept of gridable electric vehicle. Now we'll see the concept of battery management system, BMS. We used to say battery management system for electric vehicle. So the drawback which is associated with onboard energy storage, what we have seen is electric vehicle have shorter driving range, about 160 to 300 kilometer per full battery charge, while petrol vehicle can sometimes go farther than 400 kilometer
मोठा आणा म्हटलं ना चेंज
from
करून.
refuel. Okay, so this is there. And recharge time for battery pack need 4 to 8 hours to be fully recharged. Even the fast charging to 80% of its capacity needs around 30 minutes. So this is one of the drawback with the electric vehicle. And the battery pack consists of many individual battery unit need to be replaced after several years. And this can be very costly. As I've told you, the cost of the battery in the electric vehicle, it is near to 30 to 35% of the cost of the vehicle. So it required to replace every 5 year or 6 year. So that is very costly for the user. So this is one of the drawback what we are having. Significant vehicle space is needed to install the battery pack, which is also a very heavy. We require very large space to install the battery. And these batteries are heavy. They are having somewhat relatively higher weight. So this is some of the drawback which is associated with onboard energy storage. Okay, so what is the solution? We require to effectively use this battery and draw lot of research we require. So for that, the concept of battery management system you require. You require to go for battery management system. This is what we are having the electric car. Okay, conventional electric car. You can see here what these racks are available. These racks are battery packs. Okay, these racks are battery pack. This much batteries are there in a conventional electric car. You can see these are the battery. And here, somewhere here, you will be having BMS, that is battery management system. These are the high voltage electric cable and solar roof, power electronics, inverters are there, transmission, and all these things you can see in the electric car. This is electric vehicle battery pack. So first figure is Tesla battery pack. This one is Tesla battery pack, and this is Nissan battery pack. Nissan battery pack. It is looking like this. So these are the battery. You can see. So replacing a battery is not an easy task. If you see this battery, okay, you may be having the cooling circuit, you may be having control circuit, and many more things which is there with the battery. The replacing of battery is very difficult, है ना? अगर सपोज करो कि इसका चार्ज खत्म हो गया, दूसरी बैटरी लेके रिप्लेस करेंगे, ऐसा नहीं है. आप देखिए कितना बैटरी कैसा कितना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है. Battery is very complicated. It is having with the control circuitry. It is having with the cooling circuitry. जब चार्जिंग करते हैं तो इसका टेम्परेचर बहुत ज़्यादा रहता है. You may be having the possibility of explosion. Explosion भी हो सकता है अगर टेम्परेचर को कंट्रोल नहीं किया. तो टेम्परेचर कंट्रोल करना भी बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. Okay, so this is what you can notice the battery. It is not easy. But in a small electric vehicle like Maxi in Nagpur or in some cities, you are having the Maxi electric auto. Okay, so there you are having some simple batteries that can be replaced. But in cars, it is very difficult to go for the replacement of the battery. So this is the typical electric car inside setup and battery. This is the battery pack. This is complete battery pack, which is at the rear. under the rear seat, you will find the battery pack. Okay, this is the what you are having, the drives and all these things. So this is what you are having. You may be having the fast charging. Fast charging जैसे मैंने बताया वो DC supply से होता है. Slow charging AC supply से होता है. We are having two different circuit for AC charging and DC charging. When you want fast charging, you go for the charging station. Charging station से fast charging DC supply रहता है. ठीक है. Slow charging, you can have the charging at the home, or you may go for slow charging at some of the charging station. Agree? What is the issue with the battery? The main thing is you require to see the issue with the battery. The first issue with the battery is self-discharge and balance between cells. The battery may go for self-discharge, or you require to balance this cells. अभी ये देखिए, to acquire the power requirement of your electric vehicle, you require to have the parallel and series connection of the battery. You may be having series and parallel connection of the battery. Suppose we just go for example of this two battery, upper and lower. In case A, this is the case A. Upper and lower battery is connected in series. Okay, this is the upper control limit, 80% SOC. This is the SOC limit, and this is lower control limit, 30% is SOC is state of charge. Upper limit is 80%, lower limit is 30%. इसके बीच में यूज करना है हमको, स्टेट ऑफ चार्ज इसके बीच में यूज करना है. And this is the initial state. This lower battery is having relatively less SOC, that is 70 SOC, 10% less than the upper battery. This is unbalanced, I can say this is unbalanced. What will happen? We'll see when you are having charging and discharging. When you are having the discharging, you can see this battery, second battery, this lower battery reach to its lower control limit earlier. वो पहले यहाँ पर पहुँचेगा. ठीक है. Upper battery, it will not fully discharge. The total available is 40%. Total available SOC is 40%, but still it can't able to utilize it. It can't able to utilize it. Okay. Actually 50% SOC should this battery utilize, but only it is utilizing 40%. It is utilizing only 40%. The full capacity is not able to utilize. When you go for the discharging, this will reach to the lower control limit of the SOC, that is 30%, and this is not going to reach to its lowest capacity. Means it is utilizing only 40% of available power, SOC. When you go for the charging, this upper battery, it is reaching to its upper limit earlier. And this lower battery, it is still remaining with 10% of the SOC. It is not going to reach to the 80% of SOC. It is remaining at the 70% of the SOC. So there is an imbalance. Due to that, there is a less utility of the capacity of the battery. Decrease in available electricity of cell due to imbalance between cell. This is due to imbalance between the cell. Agreed? So self-discharge and balancing between the cell. To make the best use of storage capacity, it is necessary to continuously balance the cell. एक cell को balance करना पड़ता है with each other during their operation, from their installation to end of the life. The battery cell balancing circuit is incorporated into a battery module. The discharge type passive balancing method is usually used for it, where the SOC of each cell is adjusted to match with that of the cell with the largest self discharge. And similarly, we go for the active balancing method. Okay. So this is what we are having the circuitry. So in every module, in every battery module, such type of control circuitry are there which balance the battery cell. This is the balancing of lithium ion battery, that is 18650 battery with the protection mode. Okay, so such a complicated circuit is required to have the monitoring of or to have a balancing of each battery. You may be having active type of circuit, you may be having the passive circuit to have the balancing of the battery. Other problem is you can see here when you study the discharge rate and temperature. What is the effect of discharge rate and temperature? If you want to study the discharge rate, uh, first of all we go for the temperature. Compare these two. Compare these two. Point 2 C. The discharge rate is 0.2 C at 0 degree centigrade, and this is the curve corresponding to discharge rate of 0.2 C with 25 degrees centigrade. You can see here, for higher temperature, you can utilize more capacity of the battery. For higher temperature, you can use more capacity of the battery. For lower temperature, less capacity, you can use less capacity. So this is what you can see the impact of temperature. Consider now the discharge rate. When you are having different discharge rate, here you are having 0.2 C discharge, here you are having 0.05 C discharge. When you are having less discharge, the capacity can last for longer. When you are having higher discharge, the capacity lasts for the short duration. Okay, so this is the discharge characteristic curve depending on the discharge rate and temperature. This discharge rate is the ratio of actual discharge current to the current when nominal capacity of battery is discharged in an hour, and it is expressed in unit of C. Okay, we defined this C. You can see here the battery is affected by discharge rate and the temperature. If you are having variation in the temperature, the battery performance is very well affected by the temperature. If you see the discharge rate, it is also affected by the different use of different discharge. So this is the discharge characteristics for 18650 type of lithium ion battery. Other thing is internal resistance. This is the Nyquist plot showing temporal deterioration in the internal impedance of the battery. If you see, this study is done with the help of electrochemical impedance spectroscopy. We used to say this as a EIS. Electrochemical impedance spectroscopy is used to have this study. This is also done on 18650 type lithium ion battery. You can see here for 1.3 kilohertz, you are having the nominal internal resistance of the battery. But when you go for the higher frequency, when you go for the lower frequency, 100 millihertz, the resistance is going to be increased 0.11 ohms, and further for 100, this is again for 100 millihertz, corresponding to the number of the charging cycle. You can see here, this is the initial state. After 8 days, this is coming to this point. Your resistance is increasing. After 15 days, it is going to this way. Means with electrochemical impedance spectroscopy, it is possible to study the effect of internal resistance of the battery. Okay, with the increase in the use of the battery, the internal resistance is going to increase with the time. So you can have the conclusion out of this Nyquist diagram that with the increase in the use of the battery, your internal resistance is going to be changed. Okay, so you have seen what are the problems associated with the battery. Now you require to monitor to have the best performance of the battery. You require the best performance. Otherwise, you can't able to extract the maximum power out of the battery in a particular lifespan of the battery. So that's why we require this battery management system. We require battery management system. So this battery management system, it's monitor and control temperature, coolant flow, voltage, current, state of the charge, state of the health, ground fault, or any type of fault. It is going to monitor and control. This is what we are having battery management system parameter display. The first one is the current monitoring. Second one is the SOC monitoring. You may be having the highest value and lowest value of SOC. You can able to monitor. This is the what you are having the voltage. You can monitor the whole voltage, high high cell voltage, low cell voltage. And this is the temperature monitoring, high temperature, low temperature. And this is what discharge current limit set for the system. And this is what the charging current limit set for the system. So this is, we are having the battery management system parameter. So main component of battery management system is battery pack, battery assembly, battery monitoring system, battery cooling system. So the battery management system have to perform this activity, predict the state of the battery. You require to predict the state of the battery, control overcharging and discharging of each cell. You require to control charging and discharging of each cell, management of the cell balancing, thermal management, data acquisition, safety protection, indication of battery status, modular communication, along with the powertrain component, extended battery life. All this required to be performed by battery management system. So this is what you are having the battery monitoring system. So this is electronic control unit. Okay. What is battery monitoring system? You can see here. This activity have to be performed by the battery monitoring unit. This is BMU power supply control, that is battery management unit power supply control. And this is CMU control relay signal, remaining drive battery charge calculation. This all thing required to be displayed so that the driver can able to see how much charge is left and how much kilometer it can go for. Remaining drive battery charge calculation. It is very, very important. And this is based on the SOC. This is based on the SOC available. Dry battery cooling fan control. To have a thermal management, we require to go for dry battery cooling fan control. Battery cell voltage balancer circuit. You require, as I've told you, that balancing of the cell is required, and diagnostic output means any fault which is happening in the battery that can be monitored. Okay, so this much activity required to be done. Dry battery in a module. In a module, if you see, in a module again we are having the controller, and what this controller is doing, and this is the module, and this is the uh, control module unit. This is the I can say cell monitoring unit. CMU is cell monitoring unit. What it is going to do, it is going to perform battery cell voltage. It will read voltage, current, temperature, and it is having the balancer drive. Balancer circuit is available. So for each module, this circuit is required. Okay, so you can see how complicated battery packs or battery modules are there in the electric vehicle. It is not a simple. Lot many tasks required to be monitored. एक एक जो सेल है, बैटरी का सेल एक एक सेल को मॉनिटर करता है, एक एक बैटरी के सेल को बैलेंसिंग करता है, उसका एसओसी रीड करता है, हर सेल का एसओसी रीड करता है, स्टेट ऑफ चार्ज, स्टेट ऑफ हेल्थ, ये सब चीजें रीड करता है. इट्स अ वेरी complicated, I can say, circuitry what we are having inside the battery pack. This is what we are having, the typical interaction and information flow of the battery monitoring system. Okay, estimation of battery impedance parameter, then SOC estimation, SOH, that is state of health, state of charge estimation, prediction of the available power, prediction of RUL, capacity estimation, all this function required to follow. Now concentrate on this sketch. You just try to locate the sketch. This is the positioning of the battery. Okay, and this is the example of air cooling structure configuration inside the battery pack. So in the battery pack, lot of vents are there. Lot of vents are there. You are having the cooled air. You are having the cooled air, and at the end of this battery pack, you are having the fans, which is located in the back side, what we used to say in the dicky of the electric vehicle. Okay, and this battery pack is mounted uh, at the bottom of the rear seat. This is mounted on the bottom of the rear seat. Okay, so such a complicated structure is there. You can see this is the expanded view of the battery packs. So how these battery packs are arranged and how you are having the cooling vents and fans are there. So just continuously you are monitoring the temperature of battery pack. The batteries which are located at the peripheral, they are having relatively smaller or some relatively lesser temperature than the battery which are located inside the rack. So here also you should have the effective cooling. You should have the appropriate running of the uh, coolant or the cooling fans. You require to have the automatic switching of the cooling fans. So all these things are there inside the battery pack. Okay. So this is the layout of battery management system based on master slave concept. So what thing required? Master is going to have the command over state of charge and state of health. It is going to calculate. Then thermal management, go for the thermal management, power management, insulation watchdog. It is acting as an insulation watchdog. It is a contractor. It controls contractor. It controls or it goes for the communication. It is having or handling the communication. Okay, and the slave. If you see the slave, it has to acquire the data. It go for the communication, cell balancing, data acquisition. In data acquisition, what type of data is going to acquire? Voltage, current, temperature, and some other parameter. Okay, and such type of ICs are available for battery management system from semiconductor companies like Ultra, Philips, PowerSmart, Texa Instruments. These ICs are available, and these ICs are used for the battery management system. So battery management system is a very complicated task, if you see. Okay, so at right now I have developed the concept of what is there inside the battery management system. Now we'll just overview some of the smart technology which is available uh, for electric vehicle. If you see, so this is the today's smart distribution system. You can see here, this is the distributed generation. You may be having the penetration of renewable energy sources. Flexible loads are there. EV can act as a uh, grid. It is grid connected or gridable EVs. Smart homes are available. Okay, and for this you are having the smart meter. The main component for this is your aggregator, EV aggregator, distribution system operator. So this is going to interact with the wholesale market. Okay. Now aggregator is going to interact with the wholesale market, and this he will see which vendor which vendor is supplying the economical power. It is going to purchase that economical power for this distribution system. Okay, so now you are having a very much important role which is going to be handled by this aggregator. And this aggregator we used to say virtual powerhouse. What is this aggregator? This is EV aggregator. We used to say this as a virtual powerhouse. Okay, so this is today's smart distribution system. We are having the aggregators and all this elastic load, inelastic load, electric vehicle, distributed generation, wholesale market. Okay, and you may be having the vendors, different vendors. You may be having the different vendors. So this aggregator will decide just by having the comparison. This will going to decide which vendor from which vendor you are going to purchase the power. So this will be there in the coming future. So this is the preferred players in deregulated system. This is grid performance. The electric vehicle is one of the component. Your distribution network operator, this will be the player in the system. Your photovoltaic and battery energy system owner is the player in this in smart grid system. This is the DC microgrid, what we are having in coming future. We have seen up till now that you are having AC grid, microgrid. Now in coming future, you will be having a DC microgrid, which will be you can which can be effectively used uh, for your electric vehicle. DC can be effectively means you can use directly the fast charging system for your application. This is what in Nagpur you are having the electric vehicle charging station powered by Tata Power. And this is smart charging, what we are having. You are having the smart charging app. Okay, you are having the smart charging app, and this app will have many facility. It will find the nearest charging station. It will know if charging point are available. Uh, Recent notification you can go for. You can pay online. Online payment is available. This is what we are having the smart charging mobile app. Okay, so this is there. This is presently what we are having in the various city, and it is powered by Tata Power. This is what we are having the smart charging. They will be having the interaction. The charger will be having the interaction with the vehicle, with the charger, and they in advance they will be knowing who is the next to be charged. This is smart charging what you are having. Okay. Then smart wireless charging of electric vehicle. We are having stationary wireless charging system, movement charging system. You are having smart roads. You are having the charging while on transition or near the signals. Okay. If you see what is smart charging, uh, it is due to uh, induction principle. Inductive pickup coils are there, and with the help of these coils, your vehicle is get charged. Okay, inside the vehicle you are having AC/DC rectifier, energy management system, and battery. The power is picked from electric grid with the help of coils, charging conductors or coil. So this energy is inductively transferred to the electric vehicle. Okay, so this is what we are having, the wireless charging system. This side you are having the transmitter, power electronic system. This is having the receiver side. A high frequency inverter will be required. Current gain and compensation network is there. Voltage gain and compensation network is there. Okay, this is receiver side. And this is how you are having the smart wireless charging. This is EV charging, uh, smart road. On the road itself, you are having this charging coils. And just while running of the electric vehicle, this vehicle get charged. Same is shown here. This is E-roads. E-roads is meant for charging. Okay, when vehicle run on this E-road, automatically this vehicle is get charged. And whatever it get charged, it has to pay online. So these are the E-roads, electric recharging lane. This lane is the e-charging lane, what we are having. Okay, this is the fast charging. I request, please don't try it. It's a bad manner. Please don't try it. This is what you are having, the fast charging. This is what we are having, the fast charging. At the signals, you are having with the high energy source or DC source, so that the electric bus or any vehicle can get charging within no time. Okay, within the signal time, within the stop time, you can able to charge the electric vehicle. This is what you are having, latest Apple electric vehicle. You might have been knowing that Apple mobile, it is smart mobile what you are having. Apple is the powerful smartphone till date. Imagine what will happen to the Apple car, which new technology will be used. So you are coming up with the Apple electric vehicle. So you can imagine
Sir,
in coming future, you will be having with
could you
this.
say, sir?
Yes.
Sir, we are having another lecture for all college students at
Huh.
4:45.
So
So
just
I
may I
request you
conclude?
that.
Yes, yes, just concluding. I am just concluding. So this is what we are having with the Apple, and you might have studied, you might have noticed in some of the news that you are coming up. Tesla virtual power plant is coming to the India. The Tesla launch a big deal for the electric vehicle infrastructure in India. Okay, so this is the smart technology you are having, and we hope that in coming future, near about 50% of the conventional vehicle can be replaced by the electric vehicle, maybe in any segment. Already we are having the policy. So let's go green with the electric vehicle. So go green, go electric. So thank you very much. Over to sir, Ladika sir, over to
Sir,
you.
yes, sir.
So, shall I stop, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is what I have concluding remark. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. You have given very much time for this new topic, electric vehicle. So, from the electrical department of NIT Polytechnic and from all students, I thank you very much for giving such a knowledgeable information to us. In future, I request you, I will arrange another lecture on the advanced version of this electrical vehicle. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you to all.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, all of students.